Putin's plan to sever Ukraine's lifeline in Donetsk has backfired spectacularly. What was meant to be a decisive, crippling strike against Ukraine's logistics in the region instead unleashed a hellfire of Ukrainian resistance, turning Donetsk into a fiery battleground that's become, quite literally, hell on earth for the Russian forces occupying it. At the center of this brutal conflict lies the small city of Pokrovsk, a seemingly modest but strategically vital hub. Located on the war's eastern front, Pokrovsk functions as a critical logistics and supply crossroads for Ukraine's military operations in Donetsk. It's a lifeline that funnels arms, ammunition, and reinforcements to Ukrainian troops battling to repel Russia's advances. For Vladimir Putin, capturing Pokrovsk is about more than just one city. It's about control. Control that would allow Russia to claim the entire Donetsk region by creating a direct corridor to the administrative border just 12.4 miles away. Losing Pokrovsk would break Ukraine's supply chain and open the door for a full Russian takeover of Donetsk. But Ukraine isn't going down without a fight. Holding Pokrovsk is essential not only for logistical reasons, but to prevent Putin from achieving his strategic objective. Both sides understand the stakes, and this summer's offensive has centered on that battle. The Russian offensive, planning and brutality. According to military analyst Chuck Ferrer, writing in the Kyiv Post on July 9th, Russia's plan to capture Pokrovsk was marked by brutal simplicity. Putin personally ordered the deployment of 110,000 troops to reinforce the already assigned 8th Combined Arms Army tasked with the city's capture. These forces would conduct relentless human wave assaults, an old Soviet tactic where waves of soldiers are thrown at enemy positions until defenses collapse from sheer attrition. These soldiers weren't going in unarmed. They came equipped with artillery, armored vehicles, mechanized infantry units, and an immense stockpile of weapons, all concentrated for one final push. Key to this offensive was Colonel Ruslan Goryachkin, the head of the 8th Combined Arms Army. Handpicked by Putin for his ruthlessness and organizational skill, Goryachkin oversaw the positioning of troops and ensured the offensive was well supplied. Central to this was a massive ammunition storage depot located deep within the settlement of Khartsaysk. This facility was essentially the basket, holding all the critical supplies for the upcoming attack. The military idiom, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket," could not have been more relevant here. By concentrating his supplies in one location, Goryachkin unwittingly created a massive vulnerability, a single point of failure that Ukraine would exploit with devastating effect. The Ukrainian counterstrike, intelligence, and precision. While Goryachkin and his forces were preparing for their assault, Ukraine's signals intelligence, SIGINT, units were watching every move. Using sophisticated direction-finding technologies, Ukrainian intelligence pinpointed the command center coordinating the Russian offensive near Donetsk. Armed with this information, Ukrainian forces knew exactly where and when to strike. Rather than wait passively, they launched a calculated response. On June 30th, 2025, 6 Ukrainian strike fighter jets took off toward Pokrovsk. Using a brilliant tactical deception, 2 jets deployed ADM-160 MALD military air-launched decoys, electronic warfare devices designed to confuse Russian air defenses. Meanwhile, the other 4 jets released Storm Shadow long-range cruise missiles supplied by the UK, targeting the metallurgical plant identified as the Russian command center. The result was devastating. Russian air defenses wasted their firepower on the decoys, allowing the stealthy Storm Shadows to obliterate the command center. In one stroke, Ukraine eliminated Colonel Goryachkin, most of his battle staff, and several subordinate commanders, decapitating the Russian offensive. Follow-up strike, destroying the ammunition depot. But Ukraine's precision strikes did not stop there. Knowing that the Russian soldiers still had a dangerous supply of ammunition, Ukraine launched a second blow just days later. On the evening of July 2nd, Ukraine's security service, SBU, deployed drones to strike the Khartsaysk ammunition depot. Targeting the explosives stored there triggered a catastrophic chain reaction of secondary explosions. The blasts lit the night sky for miles and turned the facility into a hellscape of fire. The destruction of Kyiv was more than just a tactical win. It was a logistical nightmare for Russia. This depot was the beating heart of Putin's supply line in Donetsk, containing thousands of surface-to-air missiles, rockets, and other munitions critical for Russia's defense and offense in the region. The aftermath, a turning point in Donetsk. With the loss of leadership and supplies, the Russian forces in Donetsk found themselves exposed, under-equipped, and demoralized. The 8th Combined Arms Army's human wave tactics faltered without guidance, and their soldiers became increasingly vulnerable to Ukrainian defense and counterattacks. Worse still for Putin, the destruction of the Kyiv depot crippled Russia's air defenses. The surface-to-air missiles stored there were vital to protect Russian-occupied territory from Ukrainian airstrikes. This loss opened the skies over Donetsk. Ukraine's air force now had greater freedom to carry out strikes with guided munitions, like the French-made AASM Hammer bombs, which can be launched from over 40 miles away with precision. Ukrainian pilots, previously constrained by heavy Russian air defenses, could now more freely bomb enemy troop concentrations and logistical hubs. Ukraine's growing arsenal, self-reliance, and innovation guy. Ukraine's advantage doesn't rely solely on Western weapons. On June 25th, Ukraine unveiled its own glide kits for converting cab-dumb bombs into precision-guided weapons. These indigenous kits already allow attacks from 37 miles away, with plans to extend that range to nearly 50 miles. This innovation signals Ukraine's increasing self-reliance in its military capabilities, a worrying prospect for Russia, as it means Ukraine won't be dependent solely on foreign aid to sustain its offensive operations. What's next for Donetsk? By mid-July, Putin's summer offensive plans had already shifted. Unable to capture Pokrovsk, the focal point of the Donetsk offensive, Russia was struggling to maintain control over the territory it already held. Putin's rhetoric at a St. Petersburg Economic Forum echoed desperation rather than triumph. "All of Ukraine is ours," he declared. But on the battlefield, Russian forces face a grim reality. No shells, no missiles, no commanders, and increasingly, no hope of breaking through Ukraine's defenses. For Ukraine, the victory in Donetsk is a critical morale boost and a sign that the tide may be turning. Pokrovsk remains under Ukrainian control, and Russia's once formidable supply and command network lies in ruins. The battle for Donetsk, and Pokrovsk in particular, is far from over. But Ukraine's precision intelligence, effective use of Western and indigenous weaponry, and unwavering resistance have turned what was supposed to be a Russian knockout blow into a devastating counterpunch. As Russia's forces face the collapse of their logistics and command, Ukraine's defenders prepare to press their advantage, armed with guided munitions, drone capabilities, and a renewed determination to reclaim lost territory. For Putin, the stakes have never been higher. The failure to take Pokrovsk is not just a tactical loss, it's a symbolic blow to his ambitions in Ukraine. And as the fires continue to rage across Donetsk, one thing is clear. This war is far from over, but Ukraine's resolve burns brighter than ever. If you want to dive deeper into the intricacies of Ukraine's glide bombs or the devastating June 30th strike on the Russian command center, be sure to check out our detailed videos breaking down these key moments.